Hello, my friends. It is time for the death of me at the Indianapolis road course with the old configuration on iRacing. It's not round 7. Did I really put round 7? It's round 8. It's round 8 of the RSR IRAPS Winter Series, and this is going to be a catastrophe. 40 laps, no cautions as per usual. Oh boy, this is going to be rough. This is going to be a lot of fun. So as per usual, broadcast, you'll hear that. I'm part of the broadcast crew. So we'll go into the sim right now for some practice, and we'll see what happens with the crew.
Channel switched.
Hello, mates.
Hello.
Perfect. This time you were ready for it.
Is there no Matt Danson tonight? Oh, there is. He's just not on track yet. He's gonna sandbag until Q.
Of course.
Freenage is 0.6 of a second faster than the next closest car.
Yep. Oh, it's the shadows are really really annoying.
Casting long.
Yes, I'm going to let Kalis try and get by me here. No, he's letting me get by. That was confusing.
Yeah, the main problem is going to be fucking turn 6. I hope I hit the right VMix call.
Hey, y'all got a cop. Got Amen. Thank you.
So from what I saw from Freenage's lap, I think it's just about being smooth. Like, I know the lines, I know the braking points, I'm just not smooth at all.
Let's become a smooth operator.
Smooth operator.
Matt Danson's incidents per race skyrocketed after last week. Oh, the poor guy.
Hey, poor guy me.
Poor guy was you, but the man had 28 incidents. I don't even know how he got that many.
Poor Dylan Coyle.
We're on your right.
I'm racing with Kalis in practice right now.
Left. We're on the right.
I've passed him. Did you see I almost just spun right there at 4?
I did see that wiggle.
I saved it though.
Where's Hugo's face?
Well, you know what? It needed a little break. I didn't want to get it ruined here.
Oh, but you drove it at IRP.
Rip at IRP.
IRP? More like RIP.
That's what I put for Twitch. Rip at RIP at RIP at IRP.
There you go.
According to this, has Winter Series ever run on the road course?
I don't believe we can run here.
No. I'm looking it up. I don't know.
I've got Lashinsky behind me. Great.
Marius gonna get you.
Freenage is one away from being the all-time winner in the whole Winter Series.
Alright, first lap, let's see what it was. Oh, wow! My fastest by far!
Just not trying to, like, overdo it.
Right. And I spun. Hello, wall.
Is it a nice wall?
It's a beautiful wall.
That was unfortunate.
It might also be the temperature, too. Because I was practicing on like default iRacing settings, 78 degrees. Yeah. I don't know.
It's gonna be a short race though.
It will be. I'm very
It'll be
happy.
about an hour and 5 minutes.
Yep. Ugh. I'm actually very proud of my 134 flat. It's going to be weird. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to talk on the broadcast. I mean, more than Montreal, let's be honest.
You have an entire straightaway.
Yeah, but I'm still struggling the entire time.
Well, stop struggling.
Okay, shut up.
Have you considered just not struggling?
It's a recommendation. I love in the Facebook group, everyone was like, or some people were like, trying to bribe you with doing the oval here.
Mm-hmm.
Like last minute, everyone's like, let's just do the oval.
Yo.
Ow!
Yo.
Hey Hugo, I'm sorry.
What?
I overslept yesterday. I was
It
gonna.
was okay. Jonah did it, and then I replaced Jonah with his other bro.
I am very sorry.
Fire his ass.
Yeah, fire me for using your face.
Am I in the right?
Never. You're never
Phoenix
in the
call?
right.
What?
Am I in the right VMix call from last week?
Damn it. It's Ninja.
Oh, the answer is no.
Well, no, for Facecam I know it's Ninja, but I mean for the stream. Do you want me to go back to Parsec?
Oh no,
Okay, do you wanna watch me eat my dinner?
Or did he? Weren't you able to join Parsec again?
Yeah, I'm joining it now. I just remember it disconnected us last week. I don't know if the...
Well, if it happens again, I can do it next again.
I'll just panic and throw something in the chat.
We're gonna go live 5 minutes later tonight than we usually do because
Quali
qualifying
is.
takes 5 minutes longer than it usually does.
Yeah, why?
Not that it
Yep.
needed to, but for road courses we make it 10. Just in case someone like wants to stop and then start their lap again to not burn one and just give them time.
Screw those
These are
people.
oval- These are oval guys, not in their natural habitat. Due discretion is advised.
Car on your left. Still there.
So
We're
we
on the
will
way.
start the countdown.
What's up,
of
Russ?
The hour, and we will start talking at 5 after the hour.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, Tyler.
I just bang the wall.
Bang! Bang! Who's the guy that yells bang? The basketball commentator?
I forget. I just got a 134.7 while I was held up by Kato the entire time. I'm
Missing
feeling.
the natty. I'll be able to watch
Oh
the
yeah,
end, though,
what?
'cause the race is so short.
Whatever.
Once upon a time, when John Abbott ran RSR, National Football Championship Day was an off week.
That's awesome. Honestly, man,
Wait, do we even care about that still? Like, it's Ohio State and Alabama. I could care less.
I couldn't care. I couldn't
hate
care
watching
less.
Ohio State, so roll Tide.
Are you? Oh, that's right. Canadian with these weird teams.
Well, my mom's side of the family's from Michigan. They're from Ann Arbor, so.
Ah,
Oh, so yeah, you. Have
I'm
to
wearing a
Ohio
Penn State shirt.
But-
I didn't
but
even.
I hate. I
On
hate
your
like
left.
Alabama too, but
Clear on the left.
when it comes to them or Ohio State, it's no question.
I didn't
It was
even
like me
realize
and
it. I have to slow down. I stopped
Time gain.
inside of turn 1, and now I
Can't
have.
you wait for a whole bunch of road races on the Cup schedule?
Oh Jesus Christ!
NASCAR is what, 7? So we're probably gonna do 5.
I think 5's fine. I don't
I
have
think
too
a
much of
sixth
an
of the
issue.
schedule is
Car on
more
your
than
left.
enough. So
Clear on the left.
Agreed.
that
we don't have the
should be
updated-
out tomorrow.
You don't have the updated road course for Indy, so I would.
Ahead.
Yeah.
Would you
I kinda
guys?
The idea is if we did it in this, we don't need to do it in Cup. Like we don't need it. Like we did Mid Ohio in this last year, so we mixed it up.
Car on your right.
Yeah.
Would
no,
you
that's
be-
fine.
You're probably gonna
Clear
get
on the right.
Sonoma, Watkins Glen, definitely Coda,
Cut the court. You have
definitely
to slow
Road
down if you're
America,
looking time
and then
down.
Hell
it's a question
yeah.
of what's the 5th?
Would you guys be cool if instead of a push to talk, my mic was unmuted the whole time because
Oh my god.
because it's really
Are
hard.
you gonna hear the upshifting?
No.
What are you using?
I am using a normal wheel, like a NASCAR wheel. Yeah, I'm just saying that because it's really hard for me to hold down the wheel or hold down the button while also
Are you
focusing.
using right now voice activation?
I'm using push to talk right now.
Well, I can change your volume on the fly though.
I guess that's true.
So,
So
but
what?
in case I need, in case I need to meet you, I just gonna do it.
Okay.
On that
Cool.
note, Evan, is there a new guy doing audio for the iRacing broadcast?
I think they moved people around, but I'm not certain because everybody's now like segregated into different rooms. So
Because Jesus Christ, the audio has been terrible in all the broadcasts this year.
did you listen to the one just now?
Yes.
Yeah, the driver's audio was just all over the place.
What was I watching when you were doing IMSA Pro Invitational stuff?
Yeah, I did the IMSA iRacing Pro Series,
What?
which was
I-
it was
iRacing is
LMP2s
trying to
at Daytona.
convince Evan to do road racing.
First the Corvette thing, and now IMSA.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It wouldn't surprise me if Evan ends up doing Porsche next year.
No, for Porsche, I'm a road runner. I just jump around into the different radio channels and snitch on what the teams are talking about.
Hugo, how funny was it in the wintergreen hell when the Porsche just flat out drove in front of everybody?
Well, it was a brain crash.
Funny as hell. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
I
Check.
saw a brief highlight of it, and I put
Let-
on Facebook,
let me-
"Run,
let me
you
just-
beautiful Porsche."
Let me just send the link from the tweet.
Did you see I quote tweeted it with the video?
Yeah. Where is that?
I don't know why I
Where's that?
exited out. What?
I cannot find your video.
I quote tweeted it.
Yeah,
Jansen is still with no lap time. He's still
Hello.
sandbagging.
This is constant transmission.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you guys
constant.
like? Do you
No,
guys
use
always
voice
use?
activation.
Do you always
Do you
use
think
push
voice?
to talk?
I do. Yeah.
Even for broadcasts?
Oh yeah. It's a pain.
I use voice detection.
Do you think that would actually work? Doesn't that cut off like the first?
It depends. So my mic's a condenser microphone, so I can actually like even with this loud keyboard you hear, if I'm not talking, I can type on that keyboard, which is like 8 inches from the mic, and
Okay.
it won't ignite it because it's a condenser mic, so that's a little bit less sensitive, so I can get away with it. But
Okay.
yeah, I've always just used voice detection, voice gate, whatever you want to call it.
Well. Okay. Do you guys want me to do voice detection?
I would do that over
Okay.
constant transmission.
Okay, I'll do that then, and we'll just do it out. Mode: volume gate, hybrid, or automatic.
Volume gate, I think, right? Maybe.
Hello. Does this sound
Hello.
good?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Does it cut me off at all?
No?
Really? This is sexy.
Ain't that something?
This is sexy.
Do I
Wow.
gotta push any buttons?
Oh, wow.
Liberating.
It's so liberating. Why is it? Oh my god. This is like, oh man. It's beautiful. And the sim is like giving me
Jonathan, why are
issues.
you breaking your stuff?
Is he having a riot? I'm gonna go grab some water and take my plate down and wash it, so I will be RB.
Lovely. I've had to withdraw and now I'm re-registering because my race wasn't, or my sim wasn't loading. iRacing is so problematic at times. Like
In which way?
the program it's itself, like the UI.
Yeah.
I think the UI does a really good job at a lot of things, but there's still a lot that needs to be worked on.
I hate any of the iRacing interfaces. I think they suck. They're not intuitive at all.
I think they'll get better.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, like
iRacing tends to take a while to learn some things, but
but it gets. I think you'd agree with me though on this stuff. Like it, the one thing we can know is that once it's complete, it's quality.
Hugo, can you put me on your camera so I can see myself? I switched the camera around so I can't see what I look like.
For some reason, my sim is just saying validating and launching sim. Great. So I gotta exit out of the helper service. Exit out of everything. Try to relaunch it.
How is that? Okay. Alright, so that's actually a lot better.
yeah, that's better. Yeah, your nose is bigger than before, but
I'm Polish. What do you want me to do?
Jonathan does have a fairly large beak. It looks like willpower.
I have to use the fucking rear camera. The front-facing camera is shit worthless. God damn.
You know, couldn't find iRacing service. Are you kidding me right now? Right.
that's not good.
No, it's not.
How many people are gonna hit the wall on the last corner? and
Everybody.
create a pile up on the front stretch.
Everybody. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to restart my computer.
That's a good idea.
Yes. Be right back. Hey. Come on. Tell it to restart. Restart. It's not restarting.
Play-by-play tech support with Dylan.
I'm literally gonna force shut off this computer. I'm just gonna go for. I'm gonna be gone. In whenever I stop talking, I'm just gonna be gone. Like. Stream. Hello there. I'm back. Okay.
Oh, you didn't hear us the entire. Oh, well.
What?
We heard you. You just didn't have your headphones on, I don't think.
What do you mean? Hi, Evan. In the time that you like,
I said I insulted myself twice, and you didn't even hear me. And
Did you
even
not-
come to comment?
did you not know that I just restarted my computer?
You did, but we still heard you.
That
Like
sounds
you
some
timed out for a
voodoo.
second, and then you came back. Like it was literally like 1 second.
That's strange. Finally, the sim is loading, guys. Evan, all in the time that you were not here, I had to restart my computer because iRacing wasn't launching.
Why were you out of the session to begin with? You were already in.
I don't know. I just hit like leave session to. I didn't need to.
For fun?
Yeah, you know,
I just left the session. Why? I don't really know.
I wanted to test.
I
wanted to test the SSD possibilities. The power of the future is here.
Right. Your SSD if you
But you lost like 6 to 8 minutes of practice time.
6 to 8 minutes more than I usually get. Lovely. What a lovely day.
How many are in the session?
24.
That's not terrible.
I want 30 cars going 3 wide in turn 1.
I
want
can't.
that calamity.
I wonder if we're gonna have to boot somebody at Talladega.
Why?
Because we booted Nieto at Daytona.
Oh. Oh, speaking of which, I guess I should make sure. There is a current suspension.
Oh yeah, there is.
He is
46
not here.
seconds.
So he's serving his suspension. Kyle Kamer was suspended for getting 6 penalty points.
Oof.
He had a self spin that he didn't claim, and it was his second of the race, so
Aw.
that counted as 4 penalty
30
points.
seconds.
That's rough.
But he got to claim it, and he just quit.
Hugo, I know we're about to go live, but I just need you to know your face is unfortunately not on the car right now.
Disgraceful.
So sad. Alright, 5 seconds silence, please.
Live tonight from the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Marconi Setup Shop 108, round number 8 of this 2021 Real Sim Racing IRAPS Winter Series. As always, happy to have you with us, racing with us on a Monday night. Alongside Jonathan Burke, I'm Evan Pasoko with our producer Hugo Luis and our in-race reporter Dylan Coyle, also a part of our team. And we saw a really exciting road race a couple of weeks back in Montreal. Tonight we do it once more, however, on the historic grounds of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Second and final road course race of the year. It comes, Jonathan, just 1 week removed from a race win by Andrew Ferdinand just down the road at IRP that has retaken him the championship lead with just 3 weeks to go.
Yeah, and this race is going to be really key. It's a little bit different from Circuit Dale Drive Venue in Canada. It's a lot higher speed, and there's going to be, I think, a lot more risk-taking. There's a lot more places to overtake here. So drivers that really need to make up points, Matt Jansen, for one, who lost the points lead, they're going to be taking some risks instead.
I was just taking a peek. He has yet to put down a time in practice, so I'm curious if this is a little bit of mind games. Ferdinand has put down times. He's at the top of the board. But highlighted in yellow there is the layout for today's race. 2.6 miles in distance, 13 turns to get around this road layout. It is not the most up-to-date road circuit. It'll probably be updated within the next year or so with the NASCAR Cup Series making a trip to here instead of on the oval for the Brickyard 400, at least for the moment, working with a little bit of an older layout for the road course. And you talked about the points. Let's look at the championship coming into this. Matt Jansen had gone point by point, slowly building up his lead, but a max points effort for Andrew Ferdinand has him 3 points ahead of Jansen. And Jonathan, what's going to be a great two-way battle over the course of these next 3 weeks. Tonight, though, big Ferdinand to pad a little bit, or maybe for Jansen to close a little bit with the big question mark of Talladega looming next Monday.
Yeah, and I think with that in mind, I think both drivers still want to go full out and really give it their all here. We saw a really, really good fight brewing in Canada that we were robbed of due to a penalty given the green on pit road. But I think these two are going to be at the front again. But you mentioned it, this is an older course, and it's a bit trickier, I think, than the new course. That turn 6, that really weird left-hander, has caught everyone out, I think, no matter who you are in the service. So it's going to be a bit of a tough course in that first sector, but afterwards it's very, very similar. And our in-race reporter Dylan Cleary even mentioned the high speed going through turn 12 and 13. It's really loose. We can see guys get a little bit loose, step out. So it's going to be about really thinking about getting a good finish here and looking forward.
Hey, let's bring in that third member of our broadcast team. Dylan, I know that every time we seemingly checked in with you at Montreal, it caused you some issues. So
yes.
We'll keep that in mind and be strategic about it tonight. But a bit of a different challenge at IMS. How would you compare this one to what we saw at Montreal and kind of what's going to be the focus tonight?
So I will say this is to fix my issues whenever you talk to me, we have changed it to automatic voice recognition, so I don't have to be using a push-to-talk button, which I have been doing, and I think that's where most of my issues have come from whenever I try to speak on the broadcast. But anyway, Indianapolis is, in my opinion, a lot trickier than Montreal, and that is because there's a lot of second gear corners. I mean, from the first turn coming on the front stretch to getting back onto the main part of the track, you only are in third gear for the short straightaway midway through the lap. You're basically in second gear, and maybe a slight touchdown to first for the remainder of the lap. So it's very easy under power for these cars to just spin and get away from you, and that can be disastrous. This is different than Montreal because Montreal is a tight track. It's truly a temporary street circuit, if you will. Whereas Indianapolis, with it being a permanent racetrack, with it kind of being retrofitted in some aspects to be a road course, there is so much grass area that can just send you flying next week. And what you might see if people miss turn 1 spectacularly, there is right past turn 1, there's a little wall to get into back into onto the track. But if you don't get that, well, you're going to take the oval completely around and have to go into the pits and serve a penalty. So yeah, that's kind of my assessment. There's going to be a lot of passing, I think, but a lot of it's going to be with cars spinning off into the grass areas. And this will be an interesting one on the front stretch. There will be something happening and a big crash. I can guarantee it.
And road racing rules in the Real Sim Racing IRAPS Winter Series, a little bit different than that of the oval side. No cautions in today's race, and a penalty point will be issued for everybody who gets 10 incident points each increment of that. So you are going to be encouraged to be clean and survive this one. 24 cars ready to rock and roll. Let's go trackside and take a look at your IRAP starting grid. And there it is, Matt Danson, top of the board with a 1:37.27, the fastest lap we've seen all night. Best in Andrew Ferdinand, who will join him on the front row in second. Daniel Eberhardt, Sam Nieto going to be on row 2. That'll be third and fourth position for those two, along with Michael Loraya starting from fifth, and Agnel Phillip in P6. Jared Weinmaster will roll from seventh, with Marius Lischinski on the outside of row number 4 in position 8. Kyle Trudell starts 9th, and Bobby Krug is 10th.
Liam Sheen in the 77 in 11th. He's got Braxton DeWeese for company in P12.
Start, boys.
P13, Michael Kaczynski, and P14, Michael Ellenberg. We saw a really good performance out of him last week. Stephen Price in the 22 in 15th, and our very own Dylan Arcoyle in P16. It's an all-Mara, row 8,
Hey, Agnel,
the 17, row 9, excuse me, the 17 and 18 positions, Nick and Matthew Mara. Ross Cato in P19, and Sam Kalis in the 43 in P20.
And at the back of the
I guess
field
we're
here,
all gonna try and do
provisionals. So
that.
no times in qualifying for Eric Stanford, Brian Chambliss,
Nah, man,
Steve Durham, or
Gary.
Gary Weaver. I know Durham was hit with a qualifying conduct scrutiny penalty, so that disallowed his times. And Gary Weaver said that he hit the outside of the wall and won his turn 1 on the oval. But the final quarter, turn 13 here.
Well, now I know who to blame if everything goes wrong.
There's a
So.
look at our RaceBot TV onboard cameras. We'll be keeping an eye on Matt Barr, Ross Cato, Bobby Coop, Gary Weaver, of this 40-lap race, which should take us anywhere from 60 to 70 minutes to complete. Again, without any yellows, we have a very good idea of how long this race will take. And as we're pacing all the way around, a good opportunity for us, Jonathan, to walk you through this track, right? The run down into turn 1, that's the right-hander there, then a left-hander in 2. And this is the most rhythm, I think, important part of the track, because right here you can see the field turning into 1. That's going to be the heavy braking zone, a left-hander to 2, and then you got basically 3 subsequent right-hand turns. That kink there is turn 3. You'll come to the first apex in turn 4, and then kind of all the way deep to turn number 5. So this 1 through 7 section is where a ton of time can be made or lost.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting because this is the older section I was talking about right here.
The
5
U section.
Down into 6. Or the older section.
The U section.
Yeah, so the left-hander here, where the back of the field's going through, that's the left-hander for 6. Basically, a U-turn, if you will. And on board here with Cato, right-hander to turn 7. And this is kind of the back straight, although it's in the middle of the racetrack. A lot of speed. You're going to get all the way over, likely that light stuff on the left-hand side coming off of the corner. Then you're going to go way back over the right and set yourself up for another heavy braking zone and a possible passing opportunity right here to the left-hander in turn 8.
This is going to be a difficult one, guys, right here, especially if you're trying to make a pass. You might fall down into gear number 1 before you go back onto, I think this is turn 11, and you're getting back onto the main circuit. It's going to be very slippery. There are so many danger areas here. We're about to go green. This is going to be one interesting night.
It's a car set up to turn left. That's right now set up for road to course, and you're turning right on the oval. So that could be a very tricky turn number 13 here at speed. And then, of course, the long run down the yard of bricks. The pace car going to dive into the safety of pit road this time. The field in the hands of a championship hopeful and Matt Danson alongside his championship counterpart Andrew Frinage as we say, let's go road racing at Indianapolis.
Car on your left. Still there? Hold your line. All clear, all clear.
Good jump from Danson to keep the lead, but you can see the field all behind him. A little bit of chaotic as everyone kind of fanned out, trying to get as much positions as they can in the early stages.
Yeah, look at all that bobbling. I see some smoke, some drivers locking it up. A lot of 2 wide back in the pack. A far cry from the race lead, where Danson stays in front. Left-hander, that's turn 6. They'll go all the way back around to right-hander for turn 7, and then down the back straightaway. 1, 2, 3, all over each other. Daniel Eberhardt doing a good job of sticking on the bumper of the 88.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slower start from the 90, but he's now able to catch back up through that middle sector as we head now to the final few corners in 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And again, good passing opportunity right now. Everyone seems to be really calm, just taking their time, getting a rhythm, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're all doing right now. Pretty calm start. Oh, I say that as there's a spinner right in front of me. That
might have been Liam Sheen. Yes, it was. Sheen sideways. You can see Kaczynski, Chambliss, some of the other drivers here trying to work their way through. Let's take a second look. It was Sheen following Krug, and that was on his own. Just looped it around, gave it too much either curve or too much gas getting back into it. Nobody else, though, miraculously gets into it. And, of course, of course, yellows, so we stay green. He's back off and going. Also, a tough break early in this one for Sam Nieto, who was supposed to roll from the grid towards the front of the field in 13th position. However, he has, actually from 4th position, I should say, he is disconnected from the session, so he is going to miss the start of this race, and there's hard on the brakes for Sheen, going to fight back with Sean Kalist.
Yeah, he misjudged the braking point in 01, and unfortunately it cost Kalis a position. There goes Chainless on the outside. Now here comes Kaczynski trying to round the outside and gain as much momentum. But again, going into turn 5, that right-hander back into a left-hander, it's really, really hard to stay side by side here. You want to use all the track you can.
It's a racetrack that is far more forgiving than Montreal, to the point that Dylan made pre-race that it races in Montreal much more like a street circuit where there's basically no runoff. You got the walls basically on the either side of the track. Here there's a lot more grass, so if you overshoot a corner there is a little bit more leeway. But I think what we learned in that Montreal race was that surviving going to be the key thing in this one. Consistency. There's an onboard look with Gary Weaver, who had his time disallowed earlier today in the qualifying session, up 6 spots to 18th. He wants more. He's going to follow Kaczynski through as they are both trying to make a pass on Kalis.
Yeah, this is scary though. You can see the back end step out a little bit on that 25 machine, or the 30 machine, excuse me. But even side by side through this part right here at such high speed, and the braking down into 1. This is going to be the biggest passing zone, but if you screw up, you're going to screw up big.
Now there is...
Watching the speeds, I just want to say down into turn 1, Gary Weaver at about 178 miles an hour. So these brakes, you got to hit them hard, but you don't want to lock them up. Because the second that happens, you're not going to make that turn. Yeah,
not at all. You kind of want to brake a little before the 3 marker that is situated on the catch fence. If you're feeling a little risky, you can do it closer, but it's still going to be dangerous either way. It's almost like you want to be very conservative there with when you actually hold down the brakes. You don't want to make a mistake. And similarly, this corner that I'm at right now, at the backstretch, I'm good. It's going to be difficult to, it's almost risk versus reward. Do you want to try and get that pass done, or do you just want to keep the car on track? And like you just mentioned, it's a survival race. Road course racing, at least in the Real Sim Racing League, is a very much a survival race. Every corner, just you gotta have a ton of attention paid to, as you see, 90% of my attention is on, and 10% is on you guys. Hi!
Up to P11 though, up 5 spots from the start of this one. We saw Gary Weaver win out in the battle with Michael Kaczynski.
I'm in the grass.
And, yeah, that's it. There it is, off and into the grass. There's no wall though,
right.
so
Nope.
you're able to rejoin, but that's going to cost 2 spots.
And a lot of time.
Ellenberg and Sheen are going to go through, and you got a slowdown penalty as well, or is it
Yep.
just the time you lost by the grass?
Oh, it gives you 3 seconds.
So you're going to have to try to walk that line and try to work it down.
Yep.
Chambliss on the bumper, that's going to be something, and it's just going to hinder it further as Chambliss trying to go the long way around the left-hander for turn number 6. It will establish
I'm going to
positioning,
let him kind of go.
Yeah, he tried to let you go, you tried to let him go. And it'll
We're
be
so kind to each other.
Down the back straightaway. To turn 8.
Yeah, he's going to just let me go right there. I've noticed you got to be very careful with when you downshift as well, because obviously, as anybody knows, with some of these cars, if you downshift too early, you're just going to potentially spin out. And that's what I tried to avoid in turn 1, which is why I locked up the brakes. So yeah, that's kind of it's an interesting battle right now. You see right here, he's going to back off a bit because I will bet you there will be an incident here before this race is over. I've got a lot of traffic. Well, 2 cars within half a second. This is going to be scary, guys.
We'll let you do battle with this trio as you're getting chased down by Chainless and Price. That's going to be a 3-way battle for 13th. In the meanwhile, no changes at the top of the board. You can see your full running order top of your screen there, but Danson is in control of this race by 0.8 of a second over Farinaj. And, you know, for all the little bits of changes we saw, the race win versus second, Jonathan, as highlighted last week, is a big change, right? That's 5 points, immediately a difference from first to second. Danson's got a bonus point already for leading a lap. If he can lead the majority of this race and keep Farinaj without a lap led, he could score as many as 7 more points than Farinaj could, even if Farinaj finishes right behind him. And it's very clear this championship will not be decided tonight. It will not be decided at Talladega, hopefully, and it'll go all the way down to that season finale at Las Vegas. But I just found it funny that all practice Danson refused to put a time down and then went out there in qualifying and took that tough spot from Farinaj, who was the best in practice.
Is it that much of a shocker, though? Danson is the road course king, and that's saying something when Farinaj is in the series.
It's also, Matt Danson is the highest rated road racer in the room. He's got 4,000 I rating, so it's no surprise that he's at the front. But Farinaj is doing a good job just trailing him. But then someone we haven't talked about is Daniel Eberhardt. He's put it out of the championship picture. He's sitting comfortably in third, and once the pit cycle starts, and once tires start wearing out, it'll be interesting to see which one of these 3 pit first and who kind of jumps first. We don't really have enough cars to really think about lap traffic, I don't think. But definitely different strategies could be played. I'm assuming everyone's going to think about just pitting on 20 right on the dot, but pit early or pit late, there could be advantage on fresh tires.
Well, let's go back behind the wheel. Dylan, one-stop strategy. You got 2 sets of tires if necessary,
right.
but is that kind of what you're looking at fuel-wise, as you're expecting it to be halfway?
I think
Still there.
no chances you want to take, right? Like, sorry, I'm a little quiet right now just because I'm side by side with Chambliss. Hold on real quick. I'll give you more answers in a little.
Left. Clear on the right.
That's fair. Also, a battle going on for 4th, 5th, and 6th at the moment. A little bit further up the road, Agnell Phillip has got a spot that everybody else wants to take away from him. You got Phillip, Lariah, Leschinski, right-hand side of your screen, and the battle with Dylan and friends on the left-hand side. Phillip has a bit of an advantage now, but about 3 corners ago, he, Lariah, Leschinski, and Winemaster were all on top of each other. This battle is for 4th on back, and probably some of the best stuff on track right now.
And the tough thing about, you know, getting down in these heavy braking zones as it is, there are no brake lights in the back. They're just, you know, fancy little decals. So you really can't tell until you see that car slow up in front of you where people are braking. And if they have different braking zones, oh boy, it's going to be a wild ride. He was on board with Leschinski, and he's in the middle of this huge fight right here. And Phillip's done a good job holding 4th position. But again, as these tires wear off, as we get later into this run, who's going to be stronger on the long run and who's going to be more consistent?
Well, that's going to be the key. And Leschinski already down 2 spots from the start, so he's looking to improve on that consistency factor, having been passed by actually up 2 spots, I should say, at the detriment of, you know, of course, Sam Nieto, who missed the start of this race. So opposite of what I implied, Leschinski actually doing a real good job of working his way forward. Agnell Phillip also was able to pick up a spot, able to get around some other cars as well. So some movers here or there, a +2, +1s. Aside from that, Chambliss and Weaver actually back in traffic are up 9 positions because those drivers have been working their way from the back of the field, most of which having missed the qualifying session earlier. Also, Sam Nieto, Jonathan, I know you just mentioned, is back on track. Should have been a top 5 car in this one, but disconnected early, and he's a lap down as we watch Cato right now in a side-by-side fight with a 30 car, Kaczynski.
Yeah, but he's going to nickel and dime a few points depending on if people go out or people crash. We saw in Montreal, again, there was a few crashes, and I think we've already had 2. Steve Durham and Eric Stanford have both disconnected, but this is a fun little fight back here towards the end of the field. Cato's trying to work his way around Kaczynski, and this is where it gets hairy. Because you get a draft off these cars in these high-speed areas, you really have nowhere to go with it in this last corner. You have to wait until this first corner and hit heavy on the brakes.
You can see Cato almost shaking his head in disbelief, maybe trying to figure out what he needs more of to get around Kaczynski. Kaczynski down 4 from the start of this race, Cato up 1, so you certainly would think that the 12 is the driver on the move here. And out the rear, Kalis, Nick Mara, and more, so there's a handful of cars together. This is a quartet with the 2 Machida Nieto behind, but again, he is a lap down after missing the start of the race. Could be worse. At an oval, you'd probably be down 6 laps. However, there are no yellows to get it back into this, so this is a damage limitation night for Sam Nieto. Also, Leszczynski, a lot of chatting over the radio, thought that he may have gotten into an incident, but he is okay. So, so far, so good. And Agnell Phillip just overdrove it from 4th to give up a spot. There's Daniel Eberhardt from 3rd on track. And I think just like that, his night may have ended. So that happened out of nowhere. We didn't see that happen live, but this is that heavy braking zone down the back straightaway, the left-hander for turn 8, and he just loops it. And he had a similar incident, Jonathan, last week. You know, we talked about how good Eberhard had been middle of the season, but it was the poor start to this IRAPS Winter Series that took him out of championship contention. He was involved in an incident last week and parked the car out of frustration, and I think the same thing here happens tonight. Very frustrated in how at points he's been great this year, but at other times he's really struggled.
And we saw a similar exit at Montreal. He spun out of the Senna S's and just kind of disappeared off the server and disconnected. So I think that was a frustration one, but I'm a little bit surprised at the tow and going back to the pits, because he was running 3rd. Like, that 90 machine is fast. As we look back here at this McPack scrap, now gets even feistier, as now this is a fight for 3rd and even more points are on the table.
Yeah, he's out of this race now, has gone to the garage, so that means the likes of Cato, Howe, Trudell, Nieto, and more can battle him, and it's unlikely that Daniel Eberhardt's going to finish inside of the top 5 in this IRAPS Winter Series point standings by the time it's all said and done. And I also mentioned, and I wanted to make a note there, you know, Kyle Kamer, somebody else who we are used to talking about a lot, is not racing this afternoon. He is serving a 1-race suspension for a penalty point infraction. He got 6 penalty points, which are handed out due to caused incidents. If you tune in with us a lot on Monday nights, you'll be familiar with the term. If not, basically, if you cause a yellow, it's 1 point if you claim responsibility. If you don't, it's double that. And for each additional incident caution you cause over the course of a race, it's twice as many. Well, he hit 6, so he is parked for a week. So that's a tough break for Kyle Kamer, who we hope to see back next week at Talladega.
Yeah, that's going to really hurt his points chances midway through the field as well. And that mid-pack, you know, being here every week and being in contention every week, it's kind of what you got to do to get those final good points positions. Especially we talk about that top championship battle. Some of these guys are still fighting for top 5 in the points. We saw at the beginning, the spread's not that much from much of the midfield contenders. As we look at here, Dylan's under fire from Gary Weaver, and the 22 of Stephen Price going a little bit deep on those brakes.
Well, I saw Gary was hanging it out in turn 13, which is where Dylan warned us pre-race was really loose and sensitive, and that's the same spot on track that Gary had admitted he hit the wall in qualifying, which is what disallowed his qualifying time to count. So he is obviously not intimidated or scared by it, because he sent it through there to make a pass.
Yes, he did.
11 positions to 13th, and more cars in this battle. As you look off the back, that's Dylan behind in 14th, and then a little bit further back, Stephen Price trying to join in on the fun. Price exactly where he started this race in 15th. So we talked about this race not being a marathon, right? Time-wise, green to checkered, somewhere in the ballpark at 65 minutes. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to be feeling it in your arms, that you're not going to be, I think, a bit mentally drained when it's done, because at a very flat road course, right? I mean, Montreal was the same way, but when we go Cup Series racing, we'll see it very differently, Jonathan, at places like Sonoma, at places like Watkins.
Ooh, Gary almost just absolutely lost it.
Into the terrain, and you have, you know, ups and downs and kind of almost banked corners. Here is, aside from right here on the oval, it's basically all flat for the most part, so you don't really have anything working with you. A 65-minute race can still kick your butt.
Especially with the heavy braking zones. Like, that's the worst part, I think. As you can see Gary like going defensive on Dylan right here. It's these heavy braking zones and having to steer so much and counter steer and counter correct for any loose things like that. You know, the elevation changes you mentioned at Sonoma and Watkins Glen, at least that's kind of a natural steering, and you don't have to put as much input to the wheel. But these flat courses like this in Montreal, it's almost worse working with it. There's not a natural flow to the track. You just have to kind of point your car in that direction.
and we are quarter distance through this Makoni Setup Shop 104. And anytime we go road racing, especially this season with the IRAPS Winter Series at a place like Montreal and a place like Indianapolis, where you do not see official iRacing B-Class Series racing. This is a fixed setup series as we take a look on board at the Bobby Krug there. So all these cars with the same setups, it's an equal playing field. The difference comes down to the guy behind the wheel, not the equipment under the hood. But because there is no iRacing default fixed setup, our friends at Makoni Setup Shop helped us out in building the setup for us for this race. So big thanks to them as always for being a part of the RSR IRAPS Winter Series. There's a big dive down into one by Kyle Trudell, and he makes it stick. Give him P6 as he gets around Agnell Phillip.
94 car has been slipping all the way from 4th now down to 7th. And Winemaster, Lashinsky, and Mariah have all gone by, and I think Phillip is now just kind of waiting it out till lap 20 or at least lap 18. We can come down, maybe get some fresh tires, and maybe just get back into rhythm. Because that's the other thing, getting overtaken lap after lap, it's really hard for you to set a good rhythm if you just set some fast laps.
You got one on your left.
And already starting to think, just looking at lap times, you know, the best lap of this race was set by Andrew Farinaj, interestingly enough, earlier on, obviously, with a 1 minute 31.6. He just ran a 1:35. So already, it's not as visually, you know, as much of a difference as, you know, when you're falling off on an oval, but you're looking at 3.5 to 4 seconds of fall off already in this race. So very clear, though, if we were going to get, I think, 2 stoppers, that this would be the point where they start to dive down, and the field numbers certainly suggest that this is going to be a one-stop race. But don't forget, Jonathan, rewinding to that race at Montreal, just how big of a factor that pit cycle was, right? It's how Andrew Farinaj got penalized, cost him the race lead, and shuffled up a bunch of other positions inside of the top 5 based on when these drivers actually wanted to come down and get serviced.
Yeah, and also like where you come out in terms of who has pitted and who has not pitted, especially here. This pit road
is scary.
Is not the current scan. You come in off of turn 13, the last corner of the track, and you come out before turn 1. You actually have to make the corner at turn 1, unlike the current version that we see in IndyCar and the Xfinity cars right here last year, that you go under turn 1. So it's a bit scary and a bit different. And we saw at Montreal if you guys get the exits and entrances wrong, and I'm sure many of these guys have practiced it, but it's going to be scary in the next few laps to see who comes down. Right now we have no takers yet, which that means everyone wants to do one stop, but there are some guys that are struggling a bit, and you mentioned it, like towards the rear of the field as well. They're about 4 or 5 seconds off the leader space.
Hello.
Yeah, how's it going? Up to P14, it looks like you have, for a moment, some clean air and maybe an opportunity to breathe.
A little bit. I've been getting kind of swarmed for a while. I had a good start, but a lot of the guys are coming back to make up some positions on me. Thankfully, though, when it comes to an actual position, I've got a few seconds either way going for me right now. I've been pretty consistent with my lap times being in the 1:37s, and I know you just said Farinaj, the leaders, they're kind of at 1:35s right now, so it's good to hear that their slow times are still much faster than my fast times, but I do feel like tires will be playing a big part. I'm being very conservative, though, on the tires. I'm not pushing it, partly because of the tires, partly because I want to finish the race, but I am trying to see how long these tires are going to stay. As Nieto is coming by, I'm going to brake a little early to let him go here. Hopefully he, or maybe I didn't brake early enough. I don't even know how to let guys go by. But yeah, so tires are going to be a big factor. I'm not sure when Nieto rejoined the race, but he undoubtedly has quicker tires than most of us, because by virtue of it being a few laps fresher. Doesn't mean it's going to be incredibly better, but that's another thing. Another thing to worry about, guys, is it's pretty dark. We've been practicing and qualifying, I think, in mostly sunny conditions. And right now, the cloud coverage is huge. It'll make the track a little cooler and might help a little bit when it comes to preserving tires if people do want to go for an overcut. So we'll see what happens in a few laps' time.
Yeah, not worried about darkness quite yet, only about 4 or 5 p.m. in sim, but certainly you're talking about the changing conditions. It's only 73 degrees in the sim. Track temps at 94, though. There are parts. Look at that. It's a great shot down the front straightaway. So turn 1 on the oval, turn 13 there was in the shadows, right? I mean, we could see it in the shade there, Jonathan. And then at this end of the racetrack, it's in the sun.
Yeah, and this is where like the dynamic tracking is going to be a huge part, because you might get a little more grip in that turn 13. Now that's under shade, but once you get down here in the sun, it gets a little more slippery, get a little more warm. So. And especially for the drivers as well, for vision-wise, the difference between cloud and sun can mean a lot, especially if you're side by side with someone. And if they have like a chrome-colored car as well, it might be a little bit difficult to see them with the sun reflecting off of them.
Wow, you're not kidding how much brighter it is in turn 1. I love it.
We got a real good overhead look. And that's where iRacing's dynamic weather and realistic weather conditions come in, is for these Monday night races, you have the option to set the weather, whatever you want it to be and whatnot. You can set the temperature and cloud cover, but we opt to keep it a realistic or dynamic. So basically it does what's happening in real life, and therefore is a bit unpredictable, and you can actually see that sun or the cloud cover moving away from turn number 13 on this, of course, 1 and 2 on the oval. You can actually see now, I think, most of the track in the sun as that cloud has come to pass. So that's going to be a factor all night. Yep.
It's a lot brighter everywhere else, and that helps when you are trying to see brake markers and the likes of other cars. It is true that while a darker sky will lead to cooler temperatures, which will lead to better tire conservation, it's a lot harder to actually make out everything that's happening in front of you. So I'm happy to see the sun return, even if that does mean the tires are going to be worse for wear. Not much, but you know what I mean.
Right on board with Kyle Trudell at the moment. He started in 9th, is up a handful of spots to position number 6, and this is kind of that grouping of cars, which quietly, by the way, kind of under our nose at all of this, Jonathan, is Jaron Winemaster's driven his way to 4th on track. Again, Eberhard did rank out, so that was kind of a gimme spot there, but Winemaster quietly ended up on top of this group, with the exception of Michael Araya. That's about 3 seconds ahead. He has been able to stay in front of Leszczynski and Trudell and get around Agonal Phillip, who once upon a time was the leader of this group, now finds himself at the back of it in 7th.
Besides our 2 leaders, I think Winemaster shows that he's kind of the strongest in the longer runs. He's been the 3rd quickest the fast few laps, and him and Larry are really, really close in lap time. So keep an eye on that 48 mission. He may be able to steal a 3rd place here.
If you guys remember at Montreal, he was also one of the faster drivers. He is someone who can surprise. You don't really exactly know which races he's going to show up at, but you can always guarantee he will be a factor, if not for the win, then for a top 5 position at these road courses. And obviously, the Cup Series schedule has not been officially announced, but I believe we're hearing 5 road courses?
That's the number we're thinking, because NASCAR in the Cup Series is going to be 7, right? Now that the Fontana Spring Race is at the Daytona Road Course, if I remember correctly. So yes. I think if the Cup Series is doing 7 of 36, we figured we didn't want to do 7 of 30, because that's
a lot.
The races. So we're going to do 5 of the 30. And speaking of which, I'll use this opportunity as a plug. That schedule should be out tomorrow, and as well, early registration for drivers in this IRAPS Winter Series who want to compete in the Cup Series should also be opening tomorrow as well. So if you are not in this series, but you want to race in the Cup Series, I know we had 48 drivers register for this series, and there's another 12 people on the wait list for this that weren't able to get in. They will get first access, but if there are any spots open, make sure you're following the RSR social channels, facebook.com/RealSimRacing, Official, and on Twitter at Real Sim Racing. For more information on when that registration opens, you can also go to realsimracing.org for more information, because that is only after tonight. 2 weeks left in the IRAPS Winter Series, and then immediately after that, on the 1st of February, is the Clash for the Cup Series. So tons of stuff going on. If you want to be involved, it's Real Sim Racing on all the social platforms.
And I'll be back. Evan, obviously, you will be back. Jonathan, will you be back?
I don't know. Yet to be determined. We'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, thanks, sir. But, yep,
he needs to decide what 2 more weeks with us is like. And
Jonathan,
for that point.
I think it's more 2 more weeks with you, because Jonathan's stuck with me no matter what, seeing as he and I both work at Temple for stuff.
Maybe that's why he's not certain he wants to give you that
that's
much
true.
more time. Here's an onboard look with Brian Chambers. He was trying to get to the inside of John Ellenberg in turn number 1, wasn't able to do so. Chambliss and Weaver, the biggest movers in this race. No shock there, because again, those drivers did not get a time in qualifying. They are plus 10 and plus 11, but I mean, they're still passing cars. I'm not going to discredit that, but these are definitely drivers with speed. Chambliss running on track exactly where he was P12 on the practice starts earlier, but he wants some more. We'll see if Ellenberg's going to be able to hold him off. I was just looking at some of the finishing results from Montreal, right, and comparing it to this one. We were impressed by Widemaster right now running in 4th. He's actually closing on Michael Laraya for P3, so that could be a battle in just a little bit. Widemaster was 7th at Montreal. You got somebody like a Brian Chambliss, who was only 21st at Montreal, riding in 12th. So there are a lot of drivers who have made a lot of improvements since that 4th race of the year back in the middle of December.
And I am exactly where I was at the end of the Montreal race, so glad to know I've stagnated.
Yes, I can confirm. I'll just double check. Yes, at least it's better than going backwards, I suppose.
I guess it is. The race is still young, but that's actually not that young. We're almost at middle-age race now.
Yeah, we are. In fact, next time I'm on, I just want to mention, going to be basically halfway. So do we see Jonathan maybe guys pit now?
I think if you're thinking about an undercut, this is where you have to do it. If you're Trudell, Lashinsky, Phillip, you're stronger on the shorter run, I would say come down now and really use those fresh tries and get back in front of Laraya and Widemaster. Because Widemaster, again, has shown he's good on the long runs, and Laraya is keeping good pace. If you're the top 2, I think you just do what the other doesn't do, unless you both want to come down at the same time. But there's an 8-second gap between Danson and Freenage, so unless an undercut is that impressive and you get 6 seconds in 1 lap, I don't know if that's really going to be successful for Freenage.
I know I'm running fairly consistent laps, still in the 137, so that hasn't really changed all race. I'm going to stay out. I'm not trying to do an overcut on anyone in particular, but I just think I'll maximize my times a little bit more if I do stay out for maybe 3 or so more laps.
Well, just looking at lap times, Freenage lost a lot of time last lap, in which he was a whole second slower than Danson, and it was kind of an uncharacteristically slower lap.
I believe he was trying to get by some traffic. Yeah,
because he had done a 134.6, a 135.0, then a 1, then a 3, then a 4, then a 3. So he was kind of bouncing back and forth, but then 2 back-to-back 136s. And there's Agnell Phillip, who's going to come down pit road, not on his own. Liam Sheen also down pit road. So top 10 cars headed to the pit lane, right on the money. Just 1 lap shy of halfway home. Freenage will, in fact, follow Danson to take the halfway point this next time around. And we put 20 laps behind us and take 20 to go. More pit stops. John Ellenberg also down pit road for service.
And now I've got some fast cars right in front of me. Agnell Phillip comes out of the pits with some fresh tires, so he was already pulling away, but let's see how much quicker he pulls away. He's a 2.3 second gap from me right now, and he's already starting to pull away. I'm also being very tender on the throttle throughout these turns, just because of how much power you get under wheel spin here. I'm not trying to risk anything. Yeah, he's pulling away. He's quick. So that might influence my decision. Maybe I come by an extra lap or so. Definitely not now. I'm thinking 2 more laps or so. I'm still liking, for the most part, my times.
Basically a side-by-side race onto pit road. Michael Araya and Yaron Weinmaster down together, so that'll give up 4th and 5th position together. Braxton DeWeese going to follow them in from 7th spot, and obviously the call is going to be for 4 tires. It's a long pit road too. Something that sometimes is forgotten about Indianapolis is you're nearly going to be on pit road, not in the stall, but on pit road for almost 50 seconds. Braxton DeWeese got an unsafe pit entrance penalty for diving down pit road right off in the final corner. So maybe you need to use the access road on the inside of turn 13. I'm not certain. I'm not a road racer, so couldn't tell you for certain.
Well, I know what I'll have to not do.
The track map says you have to use like almost the inside apron. So I'm wondering if that last minute decision is going to cost Braxton Dewey's big. But you mentioned it. You know, Liam Sheen spent 48 seconds in total in the lane. Where Weinmaster comes out, he almost spent a total of 49, and Weinmaster's actually going to be under threat here, I think, from a few of these cars that pitted. Phillips already gotten by, so that 94 is able to make up a few places. He also leaped Laraya, so really good net gain from the 94.
Brinaj comes off of turn 13 as Danson is down into turn 1.
Thank you, Gary.
So the top 2 cars are separated by the entirety of the front straightaway. A far cry, of course, as we talked about how things ended for Brinaj at Montreal, where he was the lead car, wasn't at any point 10 seconds ahead, but was the lead car at that point, got penalized with a speeding penalty coming down to the pit lane, and ended up losing that race. And now Matt Danson, a good point, Jonathan, you just made, has now led 21 laps of this race, so that guarantees him maximum bonus points. 1 for leading a lap, and now another bonus point, 2 total for leading the most laps. So if he could go on to win this race, he could be looking at a 42-point payday, which would be huge.
Yeah, that would be really, really big, and I think he's showing his skills on the road course right now in kind of dramatic fashion. He's in the 134.7s, and he's been there almost the whole time. Brinaj has even dropped off even more than what we thought. He was equaling Danson early on in that run, but now he's kind of fallen off as we see a few more guys come down pit road. And again, that early stop by Agnell Phillip really paying off. He's net P3 after all this, and Gary Weaver still out on track in P4. He could be holding up Laraya and Weinmaster here.
Well, you know what goes around comes around, right? So at the end of this race, who's going to be the quicker car? It's not going to be Phillip.
You win, you gain some now at the risk of losing it later, and somewhere in that middle is the perfect decision. Danson, though, still deciding not to come down pit road. He's having a good time up at the front of the field. A lot of the other cars from the top 10, top 5 came down. Kaczynski's down there. I know Dylan's down pit road. Sam Niano and more. Only waiting on Nick Mara, Sean Kalist, Gary Weaver, and then first and second, Matt Danson and Andrew Brinaj to come down pit road. So they're obviously feeling pretty good at the moment. And you can see the cars off the pit lane battling with each other. That's Michael Araya ahead of Liara Wine.
Oh, Braxton. Oh, DeWeese.
Closed it back in. So a great fight right here for what's going to be 4th and 5th.
DeWeese just spun in turn 1.
Clear on the left.
Oh, and I'm overcooking it.
He had just gotten back out on fresh tires, and he totally missed the corner, locked it up, and nearly took out Kalist. And we can see you now in the sand trap.
Yep, overcooked it.
The golf course is on the back stretch, not theirs, so not the sand trap you want to get stuck in.
Not at all. And I lost a net loss of position when I got net gain on DeWeese. So I'm going to have to try and get the position back from Price. So lovely.
Like I said, win some, you lose some.
Yep.
And in the second half of this race, I mean, granted, they're leading, so I suppose if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But continue to be surprised, Jonathan, that the leaders stay out. Danson now going to complete lap number 23, still on track. And Brinaj could easily go for the undercut because he's 12 seconds behind him. So he could go underneath and get some quick time. But I think Brinaj maybe not even trying something like that, kind of accepting 12 seconds is an awful lot of time and maybe an unrealistic goal to try to make up.
Well, if he pitted around lap 20, he would have actually made it up by now. He would have had about 5 seconds a lap faster on fresher tires least in Freenoge's case. So I am a bit surprised by both these guys' decisions. They're not really losing time to Agnew Phillip and Lariah, about 3 or 4 seconds, but they had a massive gap all the way back to Agnew Phillip and the third place battle anyway. So I am a bit perplexed because, and they're also in traffic, which is also even worse for them. They're coming up on Liam Sheen, I think, is the next car for Matt Danson to lap, and this is just slowing them down even more. I mean, they'll be ridiculously fast at the end, I guess, is the play. But I'm really surprised that Freenage has not done anything different to Danson.
I was going to say maybe Danson and Freenage were going to get kind of undercut by the cars who've already pitted, Phillip, Lariah, Winemaster, which is going to be a great battle, by the way, for third on the back in this race. But even as it stands now, they're about 59 seconds behind the race leaders, and again, that pit time about 48 seconds. So it'll be close, and even if they do happen to get in front of the top two once they pit, that'll be easily disposed of when those guys with fresh tires get back out there. And Freenage said it now. So Matt Danson just crossed the yard of bricks to start lap number 25, and Andrew Freenage is down pit road. He is going to use the access road, play it safe. He doesn't want to risk some sort of a penalty like we saw out of Deweese. He locks it up on the tires, and just as I say, he doesn't want to risk a penalty, Jonathan, he cooks it in there to the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Just because you're cautious does not mean you still don't want to go fast in the 88. He's being cautious, but taking plenty of risk doing it. Again, you mentioned it's 47-second gap. He's going to come out right ahead of Agnew Phillip. Phillip has been slower than Freenage, so it shouldn't be much of a struggle for the 88. However, if he comes up behind the 94, that might be a bit of a struggle.
The call is definitely going to be 4 tires and fuel, no doubt there. The only other outstanding driver, aside from Freenage, is Gary Weaver, who finds himself in 8th position at the moment. And again, there is no benefit to staying out and trying to catch a yellow. Not going to happen here in a road race. Freenage, on the left-hand side of your screen, you're on board with him. He's going to come out of the pit lane. You're looking at Agnew Phillip on the right-hand side. And that is perfectly timed. He gets out in front of that pack of 4 cars. Yes, it wouldn't have mattered.
Danson's in.
But he would have lost time by dealing with all that traffic. And there's the response. Danson over the radio says, pitting, pitting, pitting. He's right now going through turn 13. He's going to use the access road just like Freenage did. And that's going to basically not allow Freenage to get anything more than maybe 2-3 seconds on him and keep that lead very comfortable.
Yeah, Freenage's best bet right now is going to have to be maximizing the time on these tires, because Danson was better on the long run, which, again, really confused me on why they both stayed out so long, because Danson is putting this a little bit in Freenage's hand. Freenage fell off there in those last 10 or so laps of the run. Now the run's only going to be 16 laps, and Freenage was pretty close to Danson's times, but 10-second gap is still a 10-second gap.
Go, Sean. Sorry if I
But we saw the Mercedes-esque, accuracy of the pit stop by Freenage to come down pit road and to blend back out ahead of all those cars. If it was Ferrari on the pit box, no doubt he would have been behind those 4 and been dealing with a bunch of traffic. For the
Everyone's coming in.
Danson clean in and out. He goes for his 4 tires. He is going to be done. Might have to deal with Kaczynski. Look out.
Oh, jeez.
The race leader alongside the 30. We had talked about this different pit lane, Jonathan, where you actually have to make the corner. Danson came out alongside Kaczynski. Kaczynski turned into the corner. I suppose they both thought that the other guy was going to yield, and that was almost bad. And now we pick up a battle with the Aaron Winemaster trying to close in. He gets ahead of Lariah. Lariah now under fire with company behind. That's the 7 of Trudell on the inside.
Trudell getting through. Lariah was P4 before this pit cycle started, and now is all the way back into P6 after getting passed by Winemaster and Trudell. But, you know, Dylan was a bit pessimistic about Agnew Phillip's call, but right now it's working out because these 3 fighting has really left him alone in third. But Winemaster, I think, is going to hunt him down, but Trudell is going to get a huge run going down into turn 8 with the draft in tow.
Encouraged me to go in a couple laps earlier, I'll tell you what.
Cycle. The difference between Danson and Freenage has continued to grow. Right now it's about 12 seconds, so pretty even. I thought Freenage might have gotten a little bit more than that. I thought he would have got it closer to 9 or 10 seconds, but Danson seemingly in control. Just needs to keep it clean. And of course, after that heart-stopping moment that he had with the 30 at Kaczynski, you never know as we take a look at that 7 at Trudell. Trying now to get up the road to Widemaster. Phillip is further down. This is, again, I think going to be the best stuff on track through the end of this race. This time by 14 laps to go at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Agnell Phillip, about 2 seconds up the road from this duo in third, is not untouchable. They could reel him in. There he is by the end of this race. So this 4-car battle going to be the good stuff to the end.
And also think about it from their perspective on the season for points. You know, you had Nieto missing the start of the race. He's 1 lap down in 21st. Eberhard had a big mistake, is out of the race in 22nd. You know, Kamer's on suspension. Those are 3 guys that are up there in the top 10 in points. And these are 4 guys that are with them. And here comes the 7.
Back down on the bottom, just made the pass on Lariah. He wants to lead this charge. Widemaster was the leader of this group of the last run, but the 7 car and Trudell wants to go to the top now. Down the backstretch, he's got more momentum on the outside. He'll come across the nose, go back to the left-hander, turn number 8. The spot is his, Kyle Trudell. Now into position number 4, make him +5. That's the most positions gained than of anybody in the field tonight who took a time in Q.
Did you see that dive down into 6? That was incredible by the 7. And to not really clobber Widemaster at all, give him enough space. Good respectful racing from both of them, but again, they need to stop fighting. If they keep fighting, Agnell Phillip's going to start disappearing.
I feel like Trudell is one of the more underrated drivers in real sim racing.
Looking back to Montreal, it was the P6 for him. So there are all these different drivers who are outperforming what they did at Montreal. And you know, Montreal was a bit of a curveball. We saw Mid-Ohio on this IRAP's Winter Series calendar last year and thought, you know, do we go back to that or do we mix it up a little bit, and opted to go to IMS, even though it wasn't the most up-to-date version of the road course, to make a different challenge, right? So I'm sure that the majority of the field didn't have a ton of time here, much like I don't think many of them had any time at Montreal prior to the time that it was announced. But, I mean, even with that, I don't know if it was just more practice or you know, just being more comfortable, whatever it is, Jonathan. But certainly drivers have stepped up their game from that last road race.
Yeah, I think everyone was just kind of on edge in Montreal. Everyone was thinking it's a lot of unknowns, it's a lot of crazy, and it's also like, it was early in the season for that race too, and now everyone's kind of been racing with each other. This is a group of guys that have been with each other for some time. We made it through last week with a lot of yellow, yes, but we made it through last week with not a lot of major accidents. Not
Whoa. Guys, right in front of me, and Danson's going to pass me this lap, but there was a car stopped in the middle of the track going onto the front stretch. Oh no, Weaver's been going off a few times.
Yeah, we just saw a shot of him on pit road, and oh, that is a big bobble right there. He got the grass, and what a huge hit into the outside wall. I already said it twice, that's where Gary Weaver hit the wall in qualifying, and we saw him get real loose that same spot, Dylan, making a pass on you earlier in this race, and he was kind of riding the curb, and when that curb disappeared, because again, that turn's not really made to go through that direction, so that curb abruptly ends. You got the right side tires in the grass, and we can see the onboard look with him scratching his head. He's going to take off the VR goggles, and I'm sure pretty disappointed in himself.
That was scary.
P12. I mean, that was a huge wreck. Here's one more look.
I heard, you know.
Braxton? Did you see Braxton come on
through the smoke right here?
Woo. Oh yeah, Braxton could have gotten involved. Amazing.
Through the smoke, turned to the left, and didn't even touch the wall. I think we need to get an onboard look there with Braxton DeWeese and see what he saw. Here it is from on top. God, and the reason the dive left is, he made the move so late because he couldn't see it, right? There was so much smoke.
And also, it doesn't help. The 99 car is a torque race car in the middle of the transition from the shadows. Like, there's no way Braxton knew where that car was at all. And that was fantastic driving. We saw, when him and Joe Berge were going at it in Montreal, some really good driving from this 3 machine. So, the 12th position is probably not where he wants to be, but he's showing some good skill.
So a near catastrophe in 13 for Deweese. It ends the night of Gary Weaver, who's going to go to the garage. And again, started 24th, was in 12th at the time of that incident. So his night comes to an end. That goes back to what I mentioned with Danson, right? To the end of this race, we're kind of in the mode where you just want to ride this one out without making a mistake. And unfortunately for Gary Weaver, that's about as big of a wreck as you can have on this circuit, is high speed and on the oval.
Gary is a very fast driver. It's just unfortunate sometimes he makes those kinds of mistakes. And obviously for a competitor in the field like myself, where I'd say we're pretty equal when it comes to finishing positions, but man, he could be, if he just got that consistency down, he would be easily in the top half of the field, no question.
Steven Price almost just took out the midfield. He went off the track trying to let people by, as Fickle and Weinmaster and Trudell are now fighting for P3. Trudell's gotten around, but this was a close call for all four of those drivers.
That was the 22 off track, right back on in front of them, and he opted to stay to the grass as they were able to sneak on by. But right there, Weinmaster Lariah also nearly taken out in that one. But at least kudos to Stephen Price there for kind of knowing that those cars were coming through and not rejoining, right? You can see him in the grass. The tricky part is right there. I mean, he kind of...
You said not rejoining.
He recalculated. He started to rejoin and stuff. The issue is it's kind of like that double apex, right, where it's two corners, but you got to go all the way wide to set up for that second one, and they have to drive way to the left side of the track where he was, or you're not going to make the next turn. And it could have been worse. I have seen plenty worse.
So that unsafe re-entry at the Ivor competition at Spa last weekend, where someone pulled up in the middle of Puhan right in front of someone, and it resulted in a huge wreck and a caution flag. But now Trudell has kissed Agnell Phillip goodbye, and now it's up to Weinmaster and Lariah to really track him down. Trudell's the fastest of the four right now. We still have 10 laps left, and those tires can wear out.
Yeah, long way to go, right? Looking at the lap times now, there's still about 2 seconds of fall off in these tires to get to the end of this race. So it's still going to fall away. You're still going to have to adjust. You know, may make some mistakes still, and at least in this group, which I said could be the best stuff on track, far to be decided still. As you mentioned, Trudell around Phillip. That was the big question mark. Can Phillip stay ahead of Weinmaster? Can they stay ahead of Lariah? And I wonder if Leschinski is a little bit too far back, because then there's a massive difference. So Leschinski in 7th is 33 seconds off from the race lead. He's not that far back from everybody else, right? He's only 3 seconds back from this battle with Weinmaster and Lariah. But after Leschinski, it is a 30-second difference from him to Liam Sheen at 8. So the top 7 far different pace-wise than everybody else.
I think it helps being in that top 7 group and being really, really racy with each other, and you're really pushing it right now. And you know, we saw early it gets single file, and some of those guys have issues. Like Liam Sheen spun around, Krug went off, Shameless has been off and adventurous, Deweese has had to avoid wrecks, Dylan's been off once or twice. It's gonna be tight as we see now the 30 car getting involved in this fight.
He's going to try to stay to the left-hand side and not interfere, and it will not cost the 48 of Weinmaster a position, but it didn't cost him a ton of time just because he was so uncertain as to what was going to happen into one that he was very, very timid in one.
Yeah, I'm going to knock on wood. I remember I said earlier, lap traffic's not going to be a factor. Oh, no, it's definitely being a factor. We saw with Matt Danson's rejoin, him get really close to Kaczynski, so... And they're not done with lap traffic yet, because Kaczynski is not too far behind Ross Cato, who's right up ahead of this fight, so it could really play into this fight for third. Some of these slower cars, some of these damaged cars, they're just trying to, you know, get to the end.
I just had a big moment down the back straight. Had to run through the...
One piece?
I'm still in one piece, yeah. I didn't get penalized too much, just a second and a half, and I only lost a second there, so yay.
You were way out in the grass.
I thought you said the golf course was out there.
you're still looking for it. If that was Montreal, you would have been in the parking lot by being that far from the
Are you
racing
sure I wouldn't be
surface.
in the lake?
Probably.
Yeah.
There's the look. He'd be out in the river. There's Dylan going through the grass and messing it
Fun
all up.
times.
But,
No, he's taking care of it. Taking care of it. Lawn care work. It's difficult these days. It's expensive.
It is.
And at least in the sim world, it has to be nice all the time. Right now, this is covered in snow, so it's taking care of itself.
Very much so. Oh, look who's here.
benefit of sim racing, though, by the way, is the splitter doesn't get ripped off.
This is very
When
true.
you go through the grass. It
This.
basically
Oh,
manicures
now I'm
the
getting a
grass.
slowdown. I have to slow down again.
They were just holding it for you for the next time by.
Yeah.
We are on board through all this with Michael Laraya trying to close in on Wine Master. There's Zag to fill up the road. It feels like this trio on a bit of a collision course in the final 10 laps of this race.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, Phillip has slowly been losing time. He's 3/10 slower than Trudell, and Trudell, I think it might have third place really, really secure unless something god-awful happens to the 7 machine. But this is going to be a hard fight for these final top 5 spots.
Just ride on board, and you take a look at that. I was just kind of listening into the throttle. One thing, Dylan, that you mentioned pre-race in this one was that you were kind of looking at how you took to the corners in comparison to Ferdinand. It was the top of the board at that point. You said, I really didn't notice, him attacking the corners in different lines. It was more so that he wasn't pushing it. And Laraya seems to, for the most part, be doing the same thing, which to some is counterintuitive, right? You might think I can just drive this car harder to squeak out more time, but you do actually have to be in control, and that actually helps out.
Yeah, and I'm right now watching Farinaj's view. He just passes me, and it's just so interesting. Watch how close he is to the apex. Very simple on the brakes. It's something that you can learn from going forward. And, sometimes you have the great equalizer and cautions. This time you obviously don't. So being able to see exactly what he's doing is just interesting. It's almost like he's backing up the corner, which obviously it means just braking earlier, braking not as hard, conserving some tires more. So watch how wide he gets. He tries to get the best line going through a corner, and already he's like 2 seconds past me after getting by me this lap. So just really interesting. And that also goes into how well he conserves tires as well. Whereas my lap times have definitely dropped off. His have dropped off as well, but you're able to be smoother when you have tires that are fresher, tires that have not been that damaged. So I'm not sure if you heard that, Evan, but I just heard Sheen getting a little upset on the radio. Wonder what that's from.
That was Liam Sheen and Bobby Krug. We're going to take a second look at the incident now.
Oh, boy.
There's the touch. Krug aggressively to the bottom. I think that was in turn 7, and kind of threw Liam Sheen on that one. And the 77 car.
Sensitivity training.
He's only going to lose that one spot, but yeah,
That was
I think it speaks for itself on that one.
That was a late lunge. Yeah, that was not much we can really say about that one. The only thing you said is on the invoice, on the in-game.
On the invoice.
I would take a look back.
Liam Sheen might invoice him for that one after that as we pick up this battle back inside of the top 5, and that falls into the category of radio transmissions that we cannot repeat.
Well, you can re-listen to it if you come to twitch.com/Dylan R. Coyle. Twitch.tv. I messed up.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, twitch.com/Dylan Coyle.
Yep.
And let me know
what shows up.
Find.
Might be something a little scandalous. I don't know.
Well, Phillip is hoping that the second half of this race is go from bad to worse, right? He is. It looked like, at least in the first half of this race, once that Daniel Everhart had spun and dropped out of the race, that he was pretty comfortably the third-placed guy. But Trudell's been able to get around him, and Trudell, I think, far enough up the road, 2 seconds good, that he's clear of this trio. So what is in question here is 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I think for Phillip, he might be the slowest of these three, right? But if Lariah, if Winemaster behind fight with each other more than they focus on getting up to the 94, maybe Phillip can hang on and get a great P4 finish. But, I mean, they are right on top of each other.
Yeah, Phillip's been falling off. He's going to go wide into the corner. The 48 was trying to look on the inside. Again, that's the problem with the 40 and the 44. They've been fighting each other so much that it might almost equal them to the 94's pace. And, you know, Dylan was being pessimistic about that move to come in early, but I think for Agno Phillip, it's paying off, as the worst he can finish is 6th, and that's where he pitted from on the pit cycle.
You really like my pessimism, don't you?
I just did not. I thought you were thinking the strategy was going to end up in him like dropping to the end of the field, but he's hanging on.
No, I don't. I think Phillip is a great driver and can know strategy a lot more than me. It's just, you know, Philadelphia. We have a chip on our shoulder all the time.
Oh, and there's going to be contact. Phillip gets turned by Winemaster.
Oh, boy.
Lariah gets a piece as well. It's an absolute demo derby down in turn number 12. And they're all going to get back rolling. It was very clearly not the intention of Winemaster, who just overdrove the corner. You could see he had a look to the bottom. And this is, I think, it's definitely more close than the last one. What do you think? I mean, the bottom's open, but what else is Agno Phillip going to do, right? That's just how you take the corner, is by leaving the inside open.
And, well, the problem is that's not the best passing corner, and I felt like if...
And he was faster. Like, it didn't need to happen there, I don't think.
No, if Winemaster waited, it would have been an easy dive bomb into 1. But the other thing is also, like, you can't really judge what Phillip is breaking. If he broke a little early, he's sticking his nose down there. And the real winner out of this is Lashinsky, because now he's got 3 damaged race cars ahead of him, and he's back in this fight.
He asked for, he asked over the radio for all of them to do that again.
Yeah, it costs some time because, you know, Lashinsky was way back, and he's fine if these guys up the road want to run each other over, because he could stand to benefit. It is permanently set Kyle Trudell apart. Trudell's good to go, and back to live pictures, driving down the back straightaway. Through all of that, it ends up with Lariah, the lead of this group, in 4th, Winemaster the middle 5th, and Agno Phillip down P6, which honestly, probably the way that this would have ended anyways, but definitely was hoping that these 3 could have put on a show and done it without the contact.
Don't never say never, because there's still damage on the 44 and the 48 and the 94, and then Phillip might see a little bit of the red mist at the moment, because he hasn't fallen off Winemaster completely.
He's actually closed it in right now on Winemaster. He's going to catch up to him, and the race down. Oh, and they're both into the outside wall through 13. Again, turn 1 on the oval, not meant for these cars, and Winemaster got a small piece of it, but that was a huge hit for Agno Phillip. Basically sideswiped it there, as I thought he was going to be in a position to try to overtake the 48 right there. Just smacked it, basically followed the 48 into the wall, although the hit for Winemaster was a lot less severe.
You can see how much that damage is affecting Winemaster, because Agno Phillip came roaring through 13 and out at 12 at that 48 machine. It's going to be a tough fight, I think, to the end. And the thing you have to notice is Lashinsky is now under a second to Agno Phillip. This may be a top 5 last lap dash for this 03 machine.
Wow, I just noticed it's, for me, lap 37, for them, lap 39, right?
Yeah, race leader Matt Danson just took lap number 39, so 2 laps to go here at Indianapolis. You got Agno Phillip, maybe with a bit of the red mist, trying to close into here at Winemaster, and Michael Lariah hoping that he's far enough ahead of them to avoid it. Also, the damage on Phillip, I think he needs to be more concerned not with getting Winemaster, but not getting passed by Lashinsky, who's right there.
So Lando Norris last lap mode, I think, is what Lashinsky is activating. He's looking at the rear end of that 94. He's drifting it all the way through turn 12. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on in turn 13. This is going to be tight for Agno. He lives. He survives.
Look at the speed, though. Leszczynski with a big run down the front straightaway. You're on board with him. It's not going to be enough to make the pass now. This pass could very well happen right here on track on the white flag lap of this race. These cars now all on lap number 39 of 40. Philip is driving that car so hard to make up for the damage. Leszczynski on the bumper.
Gonna have to be careful here. You can't rush it. I know time's running out, but he has to know he's faster than this 94 machine.
Good corner there by Philip. Up the road, Winemaster on his own. Mariah, Trudell, they're all separated. And by the way, the difference between first and second is now 20 seconds as Matt Danson comes off of the final quarter. Lapped cars up the road to take the white flag. One lap to go.
I know he wasn't on camera much, but what a drive. He's led every lap. He's qualified pole. Pretty perfect pit strategy almost, besides that one little incident with the 30 machine. It's just been incredible to watch him go, and it's got 20 seconds to freenage.
What a statement, right? And through all of this, you know, with Matt Danson's decision to come down pit road a lap later than Freenage, I think Danson's the only one who's led a lap in this race. We'll have to check the post-race report to be certain. So it could be a 7-point swing and go from a 3-point deficit to a 4-point lead into points. Here's the battle between Lariah and Winemaster. They were all over each other, between Philip and Leszczynski. Almost got Philip loose. Leszczynski on the outside. He will make the pass, give him P6. Leszczynski does it in the run down to turn number 1 on the last lap of this race. Final set of quarters at the very front of the field for Matt Danson. Talked about that 3-point deficit or 4-point deficit coming into tonight for the championship standings, that he could walk away from a 3-point deficit, had it right the first time, to a 4-point lead. But in this race, no question, Montreal was a nail-biter. It came down to a blown pit stop and a penalty. Tonight, it was never in doubt. Final time at turn 13. Matt Danson, now a 3-time IRAPS Winter Series winner, takes the win at the Indy Road Course.
Good race, Andrew.
Yeah, good win.
Just
Matt Danson
smoked him. 22 seconds
Sorry, I almost killed you.
ahead of Freenage, who is just now rounding the final quarter. I think this is a statement on Danson's part, as these two remain just as close as ever, headed into the final 2 rounds in a very treacherous Talladega next week.
He's ridiculous. He's just insane.
Philip says it's not over yet.
The Agno Philip does not want to let Leszczynski go, but I don't think the damage is going to give him any shot here at the high speeds, and he may just drive it into the fence again off of 13. He was able to keep it off of it.
He's trying.
Leszczynski hangs on, P6. It'll be 7.
Sorry about that,
for
94.
Agno Philip, and just Krug and Sheen on the lead lap, still yet to come around. But just when we thought that maybe the momentum had gone back in favor of Andrew, Danson gets his 3rd win, accompanied to race wins earlier this year at Michigan and the other road race at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal for round number 4. And next week may be the most critical one, because so much is out of the hands, right, of our 2 championship main guys.
And that's the kind of race where somebody like me will love. It's just randomness. Daytona, I finished 13th. It is my highest finish. I just tied my highest season finish. And at Montreal, I finished 14th. So it's a good spot for just random guys to do well. And I might have had a shot for the win if I didn't if I didn't spin a driver. Devin, I'm sorry.
Well, we can see on the front straightaway here, it looks like Bobby Krug and Liam Sheen, if you remember the contact between those 2 drivers, it looks like that Krug gave that position to Liam Sheen on the last lap of this race. And Liam Sheen, I think, still not happy about it, kind of parked alongside him, but that is worth noting. And there's Matt Danson, burnouts on the front straightaway, a 3-time winner in the Real Sim Racing IRAPS Winter Series. Let's take a look at your IRAPS full race results from today's Makoni Setup Shop 104. The final margin of victory, 22 seconds to Andrew Friedage in second. It's a Chevy 1-2 with Trudell stealing that third spot on the podium. We will talk with all of them in just a few moments. Lariah, Winemaster, the rest of the top five, with Marius Leschinski coming home in sixth, Diagonal Phillip in seventh, Liam Sheen in eighth, Bobby Krug ninth, that's the last car on the lead lap, and Brian Chambliss rounding out your top 10.
John Ellenberg quietly puts together an 11th place finish. Braxton DeWeese with the really good avoidance of the spinning Gary Weaver comes home 12th. Our very own Dylan Coyle in 13th. Ross Cato started from the back and unfortunately is the highest place Ford. The Fords really struggled today. Michael Kaczynski, we saw him almost getting into Matt Danson, but not quite. Comes home in 15th. Stephen Price, he was off in the first sector, comes home 16th. Sean Kalis struggled in 17th. Sam Nieto arrived late, but was able to get both the Mara brothers, Nieto in 18th, the Mara brothers 19th and 20th.
And at the very back of this one, these drivers don't make it to the distance. It'll be Gary Weaver, Daniel Eberhardt, Eric Stanford, and Steve Durham through position at number 24. We'll take a quick opportunity to step...
Channel switched.
All right. Well, that was a good race. That was fun. 13th. Proud. Oh, wow. I have a lot of chats. I'm so sorry. I didn't see any of these chats right now. Animal Sciences. Love you, buddy. 79 is bad luck. Carter Hart, though. I didn't crash. I can't honk. Meow, Chris. Rip, Jake. Do a decoy. Sure you can. All gas only. Well, you didn't spin out at least. Donate. Did you donate? That would be amazing. I'm not sure, but let me design your car. I'd love it. I'm reacting right now. Trash talk. I could, but then it would show up on the broadcast, I think. Drive decoy. Sand trap. Rip that sign. Get Or you tried. See, you should have checked chat, you bum. Yeah. Where's that donate link? You know what? I haven't even looked into it much because I haven't really had to think about it. Not that I'm asking you specifically, but I would like to see how to get that up. You can hook me up. Oh, you legend. How do I get the chat thing? The chat function. Easy peasy. Lovely. Donate. How to donate Twitch? I'm literally searching this up right now. As a Twitch streamer, you know, you can simply set up a PayPal donation. Donate Twitch with the exclamation point. How do I get that set up? I guess you got me. It's easy. Should I? Nightbot. Oh, I don't think I have Nightbot set up. Hold on. This is great. We are learning. It's a mod bot. Yep. Let me... It can handle all those. Okay. Settings. I'm going into settings. I hope you guys who did watch it enjoyed a fairly exciting race. I'm very happy I didn't mess up. It's a hard track. Moderation. Okay, so... Nightbot.tv. Ah. Okay. I know Twitch. Sign into Nightbot. I authorize you to have my soul. Wow. Commands. Default. This is fantastic. Oh, add commands. Hold on. This is incredible. I'm a new Twitch streamer. You beauty. Here's where to donate. Love y'all. Cool down. 5 seconds. Hold on. I think I've got this. Give me 1 second, Animal Sciences. I love saying Animal Sciences. You're a legend, man. I hope you you guys are all enjoying just me figuring out how to do this. Okay. Nightbot. Lovely. Okay. I think I have it submitted. Okay. Try ! Donate. Let's see if it works. Let's see. Alright, let's see if it works. Did not work. It's not working. Oh no. Oof. Hold on. Nightbot. Donate. Command. User level, everyone. ! Donate. Let me see. What if I did it? Donate! No! This is a struggle. We're trying to figure this out. Hold on. I'm missing the post ratio. Default. What if we just hit commands? Did you mod? Oh. I gotcha. Hold on. Make Nightbot mod. Join channel. Oh. Join channel. Next steps. Twitch channel mod Nightbot. Okay. I think I got it. All right. Try it now, and then I'm gonna have to end the stream because I gotta get back into the broadcast booth. Okay. Hold on. Let me just change to push to talk on TeamSpeak where the broadcast booth is. I'm gonna enter it back.
I think around
They
the sort of lap 13, 14 mark.
Yes.
I realised I was like, shoot.
Love
I need
that.
to make sure I've got a bit of a buffer.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that.
Short bits me.
But nonetheless,
so I started to
thank
go
you so much,
for-
guys, for watching.
and I hadn't done more than 2
Great race,
laps
great
of
fun,
practice, so I spent
and
the first part of the race just trying to be conservative.
love you,
to make sure
love you,
everything
Animal
was
Sciences. I always want to say your name, but I know your privacy. Take care, guys.
The one of unknowns at Talladega Super Speedway. Everybody can compete for the win there. Anybody can be in the battle for the race.
Oh, I gotta fix that link first.
You don't need to win it, but you simply can't have a bad night if the other guy doesn't. Is there any way that you can plan from the points lead as opposed to somebody trying to go on the
Fixed.
offensive? I mean, does that change your strategy at all, or is it, it's Talladega
We're learning.
and you can only go out there, put your right foot forward and hope that the cards fall in your favor?
Beauty. 5-second cooldown. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's one of those
Okay.
things where you can sound really
See ya,
smart,
friends.
now sort of planning for it, say you've got all these different strategies and whatnot, but
What?
then you get into the race and some unforeseen sort of thing happens. big rain
Ah,
or
it's a
whatever.
period. My
I've got
God.
a couple of plans. I've got sort of three.
I'm not
three,
gone yet.
Strategies to go with. It just depends on
All
where I
right.
qualify, where I'm running.
Should be
to
fixed.
how
Should
I-
be fixed.
how I sort of execute those. Ideally, I'd want to lead from the front and just be in the safest spot possible. Which is
I'm gonna take
just
out
P1,
Love Y'all.
and
Should be ready.
and get the dub. That would be ideal.
Okay.
But it may be
Try
a
it
day
again.
of damage limitation.
I am learning.
So just playing it safe. But we'll see.
It's good.
Well, at least for tonight, on the top of the mountain in this race.
All right.
The top of the championship.
I beat you to it again.
Matt, as always, sponsors,
Nightbot, you
shout-outs,
beauty.
makes it happen.
All right, awesome. I'll make sure to play around with
Yeah,
it a bit.
Horizon Racing Team.
Later, other weirdo.
Representing that, which is,
Follow me if you haven't,
always
bud.
good fun. Obviously, had the
Take care.
retro sort of throwback.
See ya, everybody.
Any
Good
specific
stream.